Episode 30, man. Here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 30 of Friends from Film School. I'm Luke Pilgrim.
I'm Brad Kennedy.
And I'm Ellis.
30 weeks, guys. Can you believe we've done 30 episodes?
Dude, we've done more episodes, because we'll be doing one every week of the year, right? So it's what?
52.
Now, out of 52, we have definitely, we're on the downhill
The back
slide.
half.
Yeah.
Well,
Crazy.
I think we're a little less than 52, though, because we started 3 weeks into January or 2 weeks in.
No, we started the first week.
Did we?
Started the
Intentionally. Yeah, because we had that talk where we were like, let's do it the very first week so that we can have 52 episodes.
Cool.
Yeah. But today's episode is going to be a little different because we're going to talk about A Night at the Movies. We're going to say this is sort of a night at the Movies preview episode.
Preview episode.
So we're just doing a full rundown of the event and what's going to be going on.
Yeah. Because, it's happening this Friday. If you listen to the episode after August 7th, obviously.
It's already happened.
It's already happened. But if you're listening to it live, once it comes out, it's happening this Friday.
Yeah.
8 p.m., August 7th.
I hope to see you there. If I don't, I guess that's your prerogative.
We won't really see you, but we can see your
Yeah.
chat. If you type into the YouTube chat, we'll be able to see you. We're doing some cool stuff. We're actually doing a lot of really cool, graphics and artwork. It's gonna look kind of like this. Boop. This is kind of the theme of the Night of the Movies.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're just gonna go through all the movies. We're gonna talk a little bit. We had people submit movies from literally all over the world. It's open to the whole world.
And I guess we can kind of jump into explaining the selection process, because we open up the film festival submission process at the beginning of the year. So January 2020, we had, I want to say, maybe over 50 movies submitted.
Yeah.
And you have to narrow it down to a selection of about 6 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And that's watching a lot of movies. We watched all these movies.
Yeah.
It's kind of going over pros and cons, what we liked about it.
We're a small festival. We don't have a committee.
Team.
Yeah, we don't have a whole committee of people watching movies for us, saying, ranking them good, better, or worse. I like these. We're literally watching all. We had a few people help us watch a few, give us their thoughts on them, but then we just basically we narrow it down to 6 movies. Along with our new movie, Encounters, the Dinner Party, which will be headlining the event.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some cool movies this year. It's fun. It's really fun to get to see people doing what we do, but just in different parts of the country or the world.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's really interesting to see just people who enjoy filmmaking in all parts of the world. It could be any country, any state.
Yeah.
It's just the people who have the same passion, and it's just kind of seeing their vision. It's just a really neat way to kind of get a deeper perspective into someone's their interpretation of art.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the people are they're not trying to be a filmmaker as a career, Mm-hmm. People might be just making these films on the side or whatever. So it's cool to have a platform to be able to showcase their work, and their art and their passion.
I was going to say, it's hard to narrow it down to a select few amount of movies, because it's as filmmakers ourselves who are submitting to festivals all the time, it's just a process. You kind of just throw your stuff to people, and you kind of yes and no, rejection, selection. That's just a process of being in that festival circuit, and you kind of get used to it. And it's interesting being on the other side of really having to select what plays well, what goes together well as a lineup too. It's an interesting process for sure.
We've been on the other side at another film festival. We judged a film festival. That's kind of crazy too, just seeing that side of things, because I don't know, it's not really fun judging other people's work, because I know they obviously cared about what they made and they love it, and then you're going in being like, I think this one's better, this one was worse. It's tough to judge it, but also we saw like what the process is really like, and we realized, oh man, it's it's kind of all just, I don't know, it's kind of BS a little bit, because you realize the process for judging is sort of like a bunch of people in a room, maybe no qualifications for judging, and they're just like, someone says, I like this one, and now we're going in that direction.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, what about these 10 other movies we saw? And it's kind of like, you have to narrow it down somehow.
It's almost
or if someone's in attendance and the other person's not.
Right, they'll be like, well, I don't want this to sway your decision, but this filmmaker is in attendance. And you're like, well, that's definitely swaying my opinion. So,
which, having an online film festival,
that helps.
That's not a determining factor.
Now, the other good thing is our judges are Carrie Schrader and Amy Ray. Amy Ray of the Indigo Girls. Carrie Schrader is a filmmaker herself. Also, she was our professor, taught us most of what we know about filmmaking. But they're judging these films. So I guess we kind of judged films to pick the ones that we were going to show, but they're going to pick the winner. It's called the Schrader Ray Storytelling Award. And you can see what that looks like right here. And they also win $300.
Yeah,
which is, nothing to scoff at in the times of the coronavirus.
Well, honestly, I feel like most film festivals too, like the awards are just like a plaque or like a
piece
laurel
of paper.
or a paper.
Yeah.
Usually there's not money involved unless it's like a huge festival or something.
Yeah. We've definitely gotten plenty of laminated pieces of paper when we won awards.
Yeah.
So. Not that I'm complaining or happy to get the awards, So, let's talk about The Life of Hugo.
Yeah, Life of Hugo is cool.
It's the first movie that'll be playing.
It was going to be super special because Jake Williams, the director, he's a local here of Dahlonega, and
you said hero. I thought you were gonna say local hero.
I thought he was gonna say that too.
I was like, wow, dude, you know this? I didn't even know him that well.
No, I mean, he was extremely nice when we met him.
He was nice. Could be a hero.
I don't know any of his heroic deeds. We'll ask him about it on the filmmaker Q&A.
Yeah.
But Life of Hugo is cool, and it was going to be super cool because they filmed in the Holly Theater, and it's all about this guy kind of watching his life play out in front of him.
On the big screen.
But, obviously now we're in a digital festival this year, but I mean, you get to see the venue where we were going to watch the movie at, and it's still an awesome short film.
You know what's kind of cool about that movie too is like I feel like since we recorded with the Holly and kind of like got those the interviewees like
backstory,
their backstory with the Holly Theater.
Yeah, just to clarify, we're doing like a docu promo for the Holly Theater.
I felt like that movie now has like this deeper meaning of like people who grew up in the theater and like what the Holly really means to them, and who've like they've dedicated their life to restoring the theater, and it's really interesting. And I feel like the movie's now just got a whole nother level that's been added to it.
Yeah, and I guess Jake is really involved with the Holly because he was there working with the kids.
Yeah, during their summer camp.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So tune in. You'll see that movie. That'll be the first film that plays. The second movie is called The Seashell. This is a returning writer. Anyways, this is, I guess, an alum of Sozo Bear Presents: A Night at the Movies. He was there last year. He had a film called That Smell. Which,
I love that movie so much.
It went
so
over.
Good.
Yeah, people loved that movie. I loved it. Brad and I saw it at
the Foot Candle Film Festival.
Yeah, shout out to Foot Candle Film Festival. Really good festival. Yeah. They curate movies real well.
Yeah, if you're a filmmaker, submit to them.
Yeah,
man, they do an awesome show. They have a great selection of movies where you feel like if you're a part of it, you're like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Cool theater too.
Yeah,
it's in Hickory.
Yeah,
North Carolina.
I believe so. North Carolina.
We went to that last year.
Yeah. So I missed out. I was at a wedding.
Yeah. So Brad couldn't make it last year. Ellis and I went to this past year. That was the last film festival I think we attended.
The last one. Yeah.
And since then,
no, are you?
I think so. You guys went before.
Was
to
that
before
Georgia Film Festival?
Oh, we might have gone to that when we got that. We might have gone to
I don't know.
That was the last one. Okay. I think you're right.
Yeah, Georgia Film Festival is one of our sponsors for this event. They are put on by the University of North Georgia in Gainesville. Another cool festival if you're a filmmaker you could submit to. Oh, okay. So anyways, back to the Seashell, though. That was a big roundabout to say Jason Allen. He is hilarious. He was the writer of both movies, which is what's so cool about Jason is he writes movies and then... like people make his movies. He's like, how many people are out there writing movies, especially short films and whatever, that just don't ever get made?
Yeah, sure.
He writes these movies and then he finds collaborators, or they find him, or whatever.
Which I think the level of the collaborators that he works with is what's really impressive, because That Smell I think was filmed up in like upstate New York. Now, to understand how impressive this is, like Jason lives in the middle of like Tennessee in the woods.
Like,
so, and to make it even more special, the Seashell is a Australian movie. So this guy in the woods of Tennessee,
we can't even get a hold of him. He's so far out in the woods.
he's a writer. He's a prolific writer, and like he has, the two movies that we've selected, and we've seen more of his films, but it's like one is filmed in New York and the other one in Australia. And it's just like, it blows my mind, because you think most time, especially with short films, you think a writer is like only working with people in their community. But he's really showcasing that you can be a writer in the 21st century and work on a global scale and get movies made.
He's got a passion and he just gets it done. And it's really cool to see. Like the setting for the Seashell in Australia, like all the scenery and stuff and the shots and the composition is just so well done.
On the beach.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like the color grading of that one a lot
I do too, yeah.
Yeah, and also, we've been saying That Smell. I think you can watch it online somewhere, probably. I don't know if it's online, but it's a great short. It's like, it's about, the concept is about, like, I feel like a lot of people probably relate to this, but some people like to smell old books. Like, there's a distinct smell, and I think even when you just say that, you can picture it in your mind. You can be like, I know that smell. So that's what the movie's about, and sort of like a secret society of people who like to smell old books.
It looks like it's on Vimeo.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you can watch that online. Like I said, it was part of the lineup last year, and that was, I think we met Jason. Yeah, we met him at that festival we were talking about at Foot Candle, and we spoke to him there, and then we liked that movie so much we were like, please submit it, to the Night of the Movies. And then this year, he reached out and submitted the Seashell. So what's next? Ambling Alp.
This was a really cool film. I love it when people do like black and white films. I don't know why, but that aesthetic is just really pleasing, especially when it's like a period piece like Ambling Alp is.
Yeah, it works well in this case for sure. And I believe this is a student film.
It is, from Lee University up in Cleveland, Tennessee, which is close to where I grew up. So that's pretty cool.
But this is about young Joe Louis, right? 5 years before, he would go on to win an extraordinary 12 consecutive heavyweight championships. And basically the story, the premise is he's trying to convince a local Detroit trainer to teach him how to box. It's a cool movie. It's really well done for a student film.
Yeah. I'd love to see like his take on a sequel to it, where you actually get to explore the 12 consecutive heavyweight championship like games or matches and like that build up.
Yeah,
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and it's like we were saying, we have to watch a lot of movies to pick these, and we have to watch a lot of bad movies too. There's plenty of like terrible stuff that gets submitted to film festivals all over the world, not just ours. And there's on the flip side, there's like really impressive work too, and you can really see someone like this, a young filmmaker in film school, who's making work that resonates with you, and that you can tell they have a future.
They're obviously passionate, and the location that he got for it, he's obviously using all of the locations that he has at his disposal to the best of its ability. which is what you have to do when you're a student filmmaker. Is utilize whatever you have at your disposal.
Which I bet how it went is like, we have access to this boxing ring, this gym. Let's write a story that works for it. I would be surprised, but very impressed if they were like, oh, let's write this story, and then we're like searching for a boxing gym.
Which maybe that's how it turned out. That's another question for the Q&A.
But yeah, the director is Parker Berry, and again, he's a student filmmaker, and this is a really, really cool movie.
Also cool too, because like you don't see a lot of like student films that are about a real person. Like it's like based on a true story, where it's like, I feel like that's kind of rare. Do a biopic type thing.
Yeah. A lot of times it's more like I'd hate to say it, but it's like an overdone theme or something that like, or trope.
Wake up, hit the alarm clock, eyes open.
We've all done it. Come on.
I know, we've all done it. That's okay.
What's like the psychological reasoning you think a lot of student films do that?
There's probably just like really thought-provoking shots from movies that are like these signature shots, and it's just recreating those without realizing that you're doing that.
Well, I remember probably one of the first things I really made was in high school, and we made a film, and it was like a sort of a PSA about drugs, but I was obsessed with Darren Aronofsky, and I had seen Requiem for a Dream, and so we had those shots, those ECUs on the eyes, like, and the montages, man, just totally ripped off those montage type drug scenes or whatever. So I think it just comes with that.
Did you do the split screen?
That's a good question. I don't remember if we did or not, but I feel like we would have if we had thought about it. But that's the thing. You emulate the people you admire until you develop a style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just borrowing from someone else until it evolves into something that's your own.
Right.
Yeah.
Good artists borrow, great artists steal,
You say that, but I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, Picasso said it, not me.
But I stole it.
But
I just stole it from him.
Picasso.
You want to go ahead and dive into Deathless?
Yeah.
Okay. So Deathless was about 3 thieves that descend on a farm in search of the living sisters, which was these twin girls that had these human births since this thing known as the Clash, which was a day when people...
Crash.
Oh, the Crash, yeah.
The Clash was a band.
The Clash was a band. The Crash, which was a day when people stopped dying, growing, or getting pregnant. So these girls were some of the only girls that had actually had this human birth since this event.
It's kind of like Children of Men or something.
Yeah,
it's like post-apocalyptic world. Now that I've learned the world of video games, it definitely is reminiscent of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
The Road.
The Road. I was going to say, like, even Mad Max, some of the thieves, in it, very reminiscent of
the costuming and stuff has definitely got a lot of Mad Max vibes.
It's got a lot of cool costuming, a lot of cool stunts, and for one, it's a Georgia film. It's directed by Katie Carpenter and Jenna Cannell, so a directing duo. And I watching it, and because some of the people have like Australian accents, so I was like, oh, this is from Australia or something. And then I was like, wait, I think at the end it's like the Georgia peach, and I was like, wait, it's filmed here in Georgia.
Are those people actually Australian?
I don't know.
They're just doing an accent.
We'll find out.
I thought it was kind of convincing if it is just an accent.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we should have. They're joining the Q&A, right? Somebody is.
Someone
from
should
the
be.
movie. So that's the cool thing. Like we were saying, you're gonna get to hear from these filmmakers. We're gonna have, the opportunity for you to type into the chat window whatever questions you have while you watch the movies. Like you don't have to wait till it's over. You see something, you're like, whoa, how'd they do that? Type it into the chat. And we'll have someone fielding those questions for us, and then we'll ask each of these directors or producers or writers, whoever happens to be on there, we're going to talk with them about how they made these movies.
They were another group of directors that like kind of used the setting to their advantage too, because it's all like shot in one location, which is pretty cool. And like honestly, it's like a really it's a really neat story, and it's a really cool like set design.
It's really neat.
It is really neat.
Yeah, the location is great. It's convincing. It looks like,
because it's kind of on like a farm area, right?
Yeah,
like out in the woods or something.
It's got that post-apocalyptic vibe for sure.
Yeah.
So what's next? Lifebinder.
Oh,
we've kind of talked about Lifebinder. We've had the producer, which is our producer as well, Terrell Sandifer, on the podcast in the previous episode, and the director of this film, Sarah Beth Ferreira.
Yep.
So Lifebinder, it's it's a kind of heavy movie, but I think it has a really good message, because it's about this band. One of the band members, she dies of an overdose, so her sister, has to deal with one of the other band members who becomes a famous rock star.
Yeah, this is like rock star days. This is like a garage band still.
And then one member gets famous.
Yeah.
And then, Blair, she's our protagonist. She shows up unannounced at the rock star's house with secrets from the past. This is what the logline says. Will a lifelong friendship survive the devastating confession of a long hidden secret? So it's really cool. Another local movie filmed in Atlanta. It's a really well shot movie too. There's some really awesome shots I love.
I was going to say, yeah, Sarah Beth shared some really cool behind the scenes stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, talked about it in a previous episode, but when they were like trying to recreate the rain on the car, how they ended up having like this whole machine that this guy operated, but then he wasn't able to be there the day.
Yeah.
And it just like kind of like just broke down on the day of the shoot, and they had to like use a hose.
It sounds like most of those shots got cut, possibly too. In the new, they made a new cut of the film, which you will be seeing. It's like a 10-minute version, because sometimes it's like that with movies. You go back in and you do a re-edit, and you can take out a couple of minutes and you just tighten it up a little, and it gives it that extra.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to bring up, because the original cut that was submitted was 12 minutes and like 34 seconds. And then they cut it down to 10 minutes exactly. And that doesn't seem like a lot of time, but 2.5 minutes is a lot when it comes to short films. So,
every frame counts in video editing.
Consider there are short films that are only 2.5 minutes long, right? Yeah. And you can tell a whole story in 2.5 minutes. So cutting that from a short film is a ton of time.
There's Summit festivals that play that are the openers that are like 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
Like, it's just insane how
going
they
back to
smash everything.
That's what we should do. Have a micro short section next year.
Cool. What was it? The first year we went to the Foot Candle Film Festival to bring that back up. I remember the ending film of our block was like 30 seconds long. So you're watching all these movies, and then at the end, it's like, oh, cool. And then it's like over.
That's a weird choice.
Yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you have like your best film be the like closer or like the one that's the longest or most thought-provoking?
Right.
I think sometimes they kind of play with, that was like the conventional thing to do, right? It makes sense to go, obviously the longest movie should be the end, but then I think they were just kind of wanting to catch you on your toes.
Go against the grain. Yeah. Well, speaking of the longest movie being at the end of the set, that's what we have done. We have a movie called Tate's Hell that was directed by Seth Ingram, somebody we know from the Rome Film Festival.
Yep.
He's involved with lots of things in the film world of Georgia. But this movie is crazy, man. It's a wild movie. It's like
would you say hog wild?
It's hog wild. Absolutely. So
skunk ape.
Yeah, there's a skunk ape. I'll read you the log line. Paralyzed by fear of a mystical beast known as the skunk ape, Tate is the hog farming son of a notorious outlaw living in isolation in an unforgiving wilderness when a pair of unsuspecting grifters weasel their way into his life for better or worse.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a crazy movie. They do some. Now, here's what's cool. The movie is really cool, but here's some cool facts about it. They worked with, who was it? Moonshine Post.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Big company in Atlanta, and also, what's the other one called? Crafty Apes. Yeah.
So Moonshine Post is a post-production house. They did all the editing. I believe they did the color grading, and then Crafty Apes did the visual effects.
Known for.
They've done some Coca-Cola stuff. I believe they've done some Avengers work and worked with Marvel a lot.
The Avengers. They've done literally visual effects for the Avengers. So pretty awesome.
I think they did, I might be totally wrong, but they did Jurassic World, I think, or did some of it, not the main stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, what's neat to me is a lot of our movies kind of are like
that is
period pieces. Like Tate's Hell, you know, it's like in the 1800s, you know?
Right.
Like Lifebinder, even though it's not as long ago as the 1800s, you know, like the mid 2000s.
There's part of it set in the recent past.
It takes a little bit of effort to go, okay, you know, obviously 2010 is different than 2019, 2020. So, you know, you have to work. You know, Ambling Alp is a great example too of a period piece. You know,
Deathless is in like this future that looks like the past.
In Life of Hugo, you know, this guy's watching his life play out. So,
right.
You know, it's also another interesting observation is, which I don't know if this was intentional or not, but there's a lot of Life of Hugo, Lifebinder,
right,
and
Deathless,
Hell.
Oh man, we did such a good job putting these films together. Life, Death, Hell. Oh man,
and Seashells.
Yeah, the Earth.
I want to go back to this real fast just so I get it right. They've done Jumanji, The Way Back. They've done La La Land, Birds of Prey, Watchmen, Zombieland. This is all Crafty Ape stuff.
Watchmen TV show or
the TV
movie?
show?
TV show.
Okay.
Yeah. Like a Boss, Dolomite Is My Name. They've done a lot of really cool stuff, and this is just their recent projects that they've done. It looks like they've done some Star Trek stuff too.
Neat.
But
wow.
So they're a pretty big VFX house in Atlanta, so it's really neat to have one of their films as part of our festival.
Yes. All right, and then so of course we will, you know, end the night with the premiere of our new film, Encounters, the Dinner Party. Can't wait for you guys to see that. We just posted a scene from the movie, so you can check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. It's also on our Facebook and Instagram. Check out the scene. It's a nice little teaser. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got, you know, the giveaway, you know, we discussed the Filmmaker Award, but for the audience, you who are most likely watching, obviously everyone's watching from home. Typically on normal years, we have the red carpet where you get dressed up, you get to take some photos with your friends, you know, cast and crew members of your favorite movies playing that night. But this year, what we're encouraging is you dress up, you take a photo, you tag Sozo Bear Films, you do hashtag ANATM 2020, and it's kind of like your red carpet photo at home. And the best photo, you know, the most creative, the most fancy, just do whatever you think would give you the best chance to win. We'll pick the best one. We'll win a $45 Fandango gift card.
And we'll announce that the week after the event.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, man. It's going to be a fun night.
I think so. Really looking forward to it, honestly. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Don't forget, tune in Friday, August 7th, 8 p.m. We'll see you there.